My father married my stepsister's mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives in our family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She's since made a full recovery though. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurriculars so that I could get a job, the money went towards her medical bills, and so that I could drive her to her appointments. I didn't go to dances, and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly with the exception of having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that but was swiftly punished. Anyhow, I go to college and meet my ex, Ben, when I'm in junior. We fall in love, blah blah blah. He and I move in together when we graduate, so we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious until July when I walked into my bedroom and saw him screwing my sister. I broke it off, tears were shed, and he moved out. My sister apologized at first but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmoed me asking for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house telling me how disappointed they are in me for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this, in part because I've seen her socialize just fine, and since we spent a good chunk of time together when she was sick, that would mean that I would also have bad social skills as well by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter and they should understand my point of view, but they're adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. Now no one in my immediate family is talking to me and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm an asshole and selfish bitch. It also turns out that my sister's 4 months pregnant. This means they were screwing each other for longer than I even guessed. Apparently my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience for their first grandchild. Am I the asshole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager?
Storytime about my toxic best friend group. So a little background information. I was 16 and it was the end of 9th grade going into summer break. And one day randomly these 3 girls added me on Snapchat and put me into a group chat. Now I had seen them around school but I never said hi to them. I was finding it very hard to make friends in 9th grade because everybody was so toxic. Anyways, like I said, they added me to a group chat and all of them said hi to me. And usually I wouldn't respond to random people on Snapchat, but because I had seen them around school, I decided why not. And it was so random, they just started sending pictures of themselves into this group chat, and it low-key made me feel bad because I kind of hated my physical appearance. But anyways, they asked me if I wanted to be friends with them. Oh, and by the way, their names were Stacy, Savannah, and Emily. So of course I said yeah because it was hard for me to make friends. So fast forward, my birthday was coming up. So they asked me if we could hang out. They said they wanted to give me an early birthday present. So I said yes, of course. So like I said, they asked me if we could hang out to give me an early birthday present. So I said yeah. And Emily had a pool at her house, so they asked me if I wanted to go over there. And of course I said yeah, it was summertime and it was hot outside. Well, when I got there, they asked me to order the pizza and they said that I had to pay for it. So I said yeah, because they were my besties at the time. So I used some of my birthday money to pay for the pizza for all of us. And when I got back to Emily's house, they were all already in the pool. So I was kind of mad. 1, because they didn't go with me, and 2, they were just hanging out without me. So we're sitting there eating the pizza. And then after, all 3 of them get in the pool and they start taking pictures with each other, not even asking me to be in any pictures. So at that point, I was so annoyed. I was just like, you guys are being so rude. And Emily's like, what are you talking about? We didn't even do anything. And then, of course, Stacy and Savannah agreed. So I was like, 1, you didn't even ask me to be in any pictures and you made me pay for the pizza for all of us. And she was like, you're ugly. We didn't want you in the pictures. So I threw the pizza away and went home.
Today's story time takes place when I was living in LA. It was 2017. It was a really good time of my life at the time. Nothing was really going wrong, which was rare. Usually something, some way or another, would happen and come mess my day up. But yeah, around this time, everything was going great. I really thought nothing could go wrong. And yeah, then something happened. Okay, so today's story time takes place, like I said, in 2017. It was the summer of 2017. It was July. And I was renting this house with a few good friends of mine out in LA, and it was a lot of fun. And this house was located on top of one of the Hollywood Hills. It was a really beautiful house, and I was renting it for a pretty short period of time. We were only going to be there for a couple more weeks, so yeah, I was trying to enjoy it as much as I could while I was there. And on this day, one of my friends was like, yo, can I invite some people over? Now, my friend would usually invite over pretty trustworthy, good people, so I was like, yeah, for sure, invite whoever you want over, because I trusted his judgment and character. He would usually invite somebody over that was usually like pretty cool, and he invites these 2 people over. Let's just call one of them Zach, okay? Zach was a little bit on the crazy side. Like, I could immediately tell that he was very energetic, just very hyper, just all about partying and being as crazy as he can and just being entertaining, basically. So it wasn't a bad thing. It's not like I looked at that and was like, oh no, like this is a problem. He was still really cool, but yeah, he was just on the hyper side. So yeah, this all starts off as a normal night. Me, my friends, and these 2 people that my friend invited over, we're all just hanging out. Zach's like, yo, I'm starving. You guys want to go get food? And none of my friends were really hungry, but I was, and I was like, yeah, I am too. He goes, bet, let's go together. And I'm like, all right, for sure. So me and Zach leave the house. We get into his car, and he had a silver BMW. Now, I'm not sure what year the BMW was or how new or old it was, but all I know is that it went pretty fast. When we got on the road, he kind of started to speed, and I could tell right off the bat that this car could go pretty fast. It was kind of scaring me, because you put someone who's really hyper behind the wheel and likes to like talk really fast and move really fast, that can sometimes lead to somebody wanting to drive really fast and speed. And it's one thing if someone's going like 5 over the speed limit, but he was going like 20 to 30 over, and these are really windy roads down the Hollywood Hills, so I was kind of scared. I'm like, yo, if he takes losing control, and that's when I knew, I'm like, yo, I'm dead. I'm 110% dead. Like, this road was so narrow, and we were spinning out of control, and there's no fence whatsoever to protect us from falling. So while we're spinning out, like, just all these moments start flashing by in my head of like, damn it, like, I wish I never did this. I wish I never left the house with this dude. I wish I lived my life more. Like, I really thought that I was gone. Like, I straight up thought that we were about to spin off this hill and start barrel rolling down the hill, like, just to our doom. And of course, we keep spinning out, and finally, we stop, and the tires, the 2 back tires, go over the hill. Like, right as we stopped, the tires went over the hill. So the backside of our car, like the tires and the trunk area, was all hanging over the hill, just right by that pit of doom over the mountain. And then the other side of the car was on the road still, and there was enough weight in the front and enough of the car over to keep the car from tipping. So we just got so lucky. Like, we barely made it out of that okay. So after we take like a 5-second breather and think about what just happened, I'm like, yo, why would you drive like that? I was trying to warn you that you shouldn't drive like that because of this. And he was like, dude, I always do that. Like, I thought I had it. I just wanted to like impress you with my driving. And I'm like, dude, just don't drive like that and you'll be fine. So yeah, as we're talking, we get out of the car pretty much immediately because we didn't want to sit in that car because the backside was over the edge of this mountain. And we get on the road and we call for help, and a tow truck had to come and help get our car back over the hill. And yeah, overall, moral of the story is don't drive like he did, ever. Like, that could have ended so much worse than it did. We came so close to having an accident and falling off a hill where, based on the height of that mountain and like rolling down it, there probably would have been a very bad outcome for both of us. So yeah, after the car was back on the road, we went to that restaurant. He drove super safe. We got our food. We drove back. We told all of our friends the story. And yeah, it was just crazy. But in the end, me and this dude were fine. The people that were on the opposite side coming toward
The asshole for refusing to give up my seat on a flight due to a blind person who has a guide dog and is visiting their family member in the hospital due to the fact that I have a dog allergy. I won't be going into specifics since I'd rather avoid being identified. I have a severe dog allergy. I can have varying disease of severity when it comes to my reactions when I'm exposed to dogs. In short, being in a closed environment with a dog is simply out of the question. Earlier today, I was boarding my flight with my friends since we're all going on vacation together. As I'm boarding, I find that one of the passengers is boarding with a golden retriever with a guide dog vest on it. I wanted to make it clear that I'm not questioning whether this was a guide dog or not. This was also a very small plane since the flight would only take around an hour. As mentioned, I cannot be in a confined space with a dog. I told one of the flight attendants my concerns since I could have potentially ended up in a hospital if I had to fly with this dog. The flight attendant informed the woman with the dog, who goes into hysterics saying that she's visiting a sick family member and can't afford to miss her flight. I'm not sure how sick the family member in question was or is. The flight attendant asked if I'd be willing to miss the flight and catch the next one that would be leaving in 2 hours. I was offered a seat in first class if I was willing to do this. I said, unfortunately, I'm not going to do this. She is going to have to go on for my vacation. Due to the size of the plane, the dog would not be able to go in the hold. The woman started insulting my character, saying that I was being heartless for putting my vacation over her sick family member. I got on the plane and sat with my friends. As I did this, a woman in a nearby seat told me that she wanted to inform that I, quote unquote, am the biggest bitch that she's ever met. I didn't respond since I didn't want to cause a confrontation. My friends haven't really said that I'm in the wrong, but they do keep making very sarcastic jokes about the situation. So, am I the asshole for refusing to give up my seat on a flight due to a person who has a guide dog and is blind and going to visit their family member in the hospital due to the fact that I have a dog allergy?
Story of the time I accidentally made eye contact with a lady dropping a deuce in public. So there are these shopping plazas near me, and it's basically like two separate plazas, but they're connected by this small road. So me, my sister, and my friend were in the first plaza, and we decided that we wanted to go to the Chick-fil-A that's in the other plaza. Now, the way that this little road is set up, there's kind of like a giant hill. So when you're driving down the road, you could see like the top of the hill, which is also a parking lot behind a building. I hope that made sense, but anyway, we're going down the hill, and my sister's like, ah! And I was like, what? So she starts pointing at the hill, can't even get her words out. And I start driving mad slow because I wanted to see what she was pointing at. I make direct eye contact with this woman's full moon. She had her back facing us because she was trying to, release her toxins, off the hill. But her neck was doing a complete 360 because she was still looking directly at us, even with her back facing us. I just wanted to drop a disclaimer. This was not a homeless woman. She had her car and it was parked literally right next to where she was doing that. And not for nothing, she was wearing a nice outfit. She looked nice. Maybe not from the angle that I was looking at her, but listen, I think she might have been maybe lactose intolerant, accidentally put whole milk in her coffee instead of almond milk, and just really had to let it out, Shit happens. I hope she's okay.
Am I the asshole for leaving after my boyfriend made me sit in the kitchen by myself when his doctor friends came to visit? Hi, this is a minor conflict that me, 31 female, and my boyfriend, 33 male, had this week. We've been together for 9 months. He is a pediatrician and I have a job in an elementary school. He's sweet and makes me feel happy whenever we're together. He was missing me lately and been wanting me to visit him, and he was too busy, so I only got the chance to visit yesterday. We sat down in the living room in his apartment, and he was about to make some coffee when the door rang 13 minutes after I arrived. He went to take a look through the hole and then returned and asked me to get up and follow him to the kitchen. I asked why, but he didn't say. He had me enter the kitchen and said 2 of his friends who are his work colleagues, fellow doctors, came to visit and he wanted me to sit tight for a few minutes until they left. I was confused. I asked, why not just let me meet them? And he said, no, not like this, and asked me not to come out of the kitchen until they left and went to welcome them. I sat still waiting as the time passed. They stayed for an hour and I started calling Donnie, but he didn't answer me. I felt uncomfortable and couldn't wait anymore after I was ignored like that. I just took my purse and walked out the kitchen and told Donnie that I got bored of waiting for his friends to leave, then said I was leaving and walked through the door immediately feeling upset. He was stunned, and so were his friends. He called me later saying what I did was disrespectful and rude. He said he asked me this one favor and I didn't do it. I replied that I left because of the treatment I received. No matter how much he tells me to make myself at home, I was still a guest and I was made to feel like I was less than his doctor friends. But he swore it wasn't like that and that he considers himself lucky to have known me, but still said what I did was not cool, and leaving like that and saying what I said in front of his friends was wrong of me. So, am I the asshole for leaving after my boyfriend made me sit in the kitchen by myself when his doctor friends came to visit?
I'm 22 and my sister Anna, 21, is special needs. She has severe autism, and while she is verbal, most of her communication is physical, like sign language, due to her social discomfort. She does speak around family though, and has pretty bad cognitive skills. She can't comprehend boundaries and lives with our parents so they can best watch her. I'm getting married in 3 months. We planned a simple wedding and reception at my fiance Michael's parents' barn and farm. Since it's all going to be DIY and we aren't planning on anything too expensive, we can do things pretty quickly since flowers, food, and decor will be provided by his family. I sent out invites last week and I asked Anna not to come. I told my parents I understood that would mean they might not show up, but it was just a heads up. Why no, Anna? Anna because she has an issue touching Michael and trying to kiss him. At times when we were at my parents' house, Anna would try to grab Michael's hands, try to lean in to kiss him, or would have really bad shutdowns if she wasn't allowed to be directly next to him. We've tried speaking to her, but there's only so much we can do when she really doesn't understand. I told my parents I just want one day for Michael to be my partner and not Anna's comfort person. They called me selfish and asked how I expected them to agree to something like this. They told me Anna is disabled and may never experience a wedding of her own while I have Michael for probably the rest of our lives. She'll have no one, and that Michael and I can be a little bit more understanding to the reality of her life. Later on, my parents called me letting me know that they won't be coming and it's best that I don't bring Michael around anymore since I've chosen some man over my sister. They told me that Anna wanting to kiss Michael and hug him is normal for a woman her age and she doesn't understand what her feelings mean. I suggested they try to redirect her during the wedding, but they said that Michael is going to be family to her and he needs to get over it. I suggested they watch the wedding via web and they said that it's not fair and they deserve to see things in person. I asked if I could pay for someone with proper credentials to watch her that day while they attend, and they asked me what I would do when they died and if I'd pawn her off every time. I dropped the unfortunate truth bomb that I don't want to put any more of my life aside for Anna. I did it up until I turned 18 and Anna is not my life's responsibility and I won't be her keeper. I assured them that I pay for her care, but if she's okay doing this to Michael, then I worry if I ever choose to have children and what she'd do to them. They said I was sick for suggesting she'd do anything to my future children and hung up on me. They sent me a lengthy text telling me not to contact them until I could do the right thing. Am I the asshole for not wanting my disabled sister at my wedding?
So strap in, and without further ado, this is the tale of the crazy-ass, psycho, ridiculous, insane girl gamer. Okay, and I know some of you are gonna just be like, oh, here he goes, he's gonna shit on every girl that plays any video game ever. That is not what this is whatsoever. I think if you're a girl and you play any fucking video game, that's cool. I'm glad you enjoy them, and, you know, that's awesome. Like, I'm glad you have fun with video games. But if you're that girl that I see on Twitch, okay, when you just know that they got some dude under the desk just like playing for them, donation goal is set to $1 million, a small loan, then you probably don't like video games. Probably just like money from Twitch. But anyway, today's video I'm talking about a certain girl gamer that I had an encounter with a long time ago, like over a year ago at this point. And it was when my YouTube channel was in its beginning stages, actually. I think I had like 6K when this happened. It was more in the beginning stage. And I was hanging out with one of my friends, okay? We're just chilling in an Xbox Live party like we always would do, playing MW2. That was the fucking life. We just hang out and play Xbox. We met this girl online. Seemed really cool, okay? She seemed awesome. We played a game of free-for-all with her. Seemed pretty awesome. So we invited her to the party. We were in game chat talking to her, obviously. And then we were just kind of talking to her. Seemed like a cool girl. Seemed like she really liked COD, you know? Perfect for us. We needed more people to play with. So we just kind of played with her. And we slowly, over time, like over a month of time, me and this kid, we'd play with her. And my friend started like dating her. Like online dating her. And hey man, personally, if you want to date someone online, go for it. I don't give a fuck. I just thought it was cool. Like, you know, he found someone to talk to more. And I just thought it was awesome. So we would play together. They would do whatever they do. And I would just kind of sit there and quick scope because I'm a fucking nerd. And we would play. But then something happened. Like slowly over time, she just became like a complete and total asshole. Like just a fucking dick. And it got to the point where she'd treat me like shit. She'd treat my friend like shit. She even made him give her money at one point. He literally gave her like, I think $100 for some fucking bullshit game that she wanted. Apparently it was a deluxe edition version. And there was no proof that she bought it, obviously. She probably just got something else with it. But over time, we could kind of tell that this girl really didn't like video games. She was just kind of like on Xbox to talk to people and use them. And we found out over time because my friend would like Skype her and he'd play with him unless her brother was in the same room. And like slowly over time we just kind of caught on that she was like a complete fake who would use her brother to get, you know, like look like a gamer. Like she would use him to play and she would talk on the mic basically. And could you just imagine how like having your sister like say, hey, come here, I need you for something. All right, what do you need me for? Can you just like play on my Xbox for a second and I can use you to look like a gamer and I can flirt with boys and steal their money? Like what the fuck? And I feel like I have to say this again. I'm by no means saying this about everyone that's a girl that plays Xbox or any game for that matter. That's fucking cool if you play games. I'm just talking about this one girl in particular, okay? So don't be offended. Anyway, we slowly caught on to this girl and her little bullshit trail, and we finally just like got her into a party. My friend's like, you know what, dude, I can't handle this. The next time she disrespects me, I'm calling her out for being a fake. I'm just sitting there like, all right, man, I'm just gonna sit here and watch. So I sat there in the party, and she joins, okay? And immediately she was in some really fucked up mood. I don't know what was going on with her, but she joins, and my friend asked her, he's like, you know, you want to play with us? We're about to play some MW2. And she's like, no, I'm not in the mood to play. My day's been horrible. Like, oh, what happened? She's like, just don't even ask. We're like, okay. He's like, you know, you asked for money the other day. I didn't even see that you bought the game. Like, who knows where it could have gone? Can you, like, be real with us, please? And she just fucking snapped. Like, straight up got so angry. Was screaming at my friend, screaming at me when I didn't even do shit. I'm just sitting here, like, watching. And I told her, I was like, hey, I don't mean to be mean, but I'm not involved in this, so fuck off, okay? And when I said that, she just went into full fucking rage mode. She started screaming at us, just being a complete and total jerk. And she actually said, I shit you not, this is what she said. She's like, I have your friend's nudes and I'll post them as yours. And when she said that, we just already, like, knew she was a fucking crazy lunatic girl. And I just said, I was like, so you're gonna post his nude photos and say that they're mine? She's like, yep, they'll be on Instagram. Hashtag Luna's nudes. I was like, you are a fucking psychopath. And I just left the party because at that point, my friend's dick started getting involved. So I was like, I'm not gonna handle this. So I went out of the party, just didn't say anything. And I was like, let's let that run its course. And later that night, I got an invite from him and he's like, dude, that was the worst fucking thing in the world. And as a joke, I was just like, yeah, so are Luna's nudes leaked yet? He's like, no, I don't even know what the fuck that was.
I'm literally on the verge verge of tears right now. Like, I feel like I can't even talk. Like, I'm genuinely freaked out right now. I just checked my notifications on my phone. Tell me why this is... AirTag found moving with you. The location of this AirTag can be seen by the owner. I'm literally, like, somebody put an AirTag somewhere with me. Either on my car. That's, like, the only place I could guess is my car. I don't know where else an AirTag could be hidden. And it's like 9:08. It's dark outside. I don't want to go outside and search my car, so I'm probably just gonna wait till the morning and tell my dad in the morning because some psycho put an AirTag on my car. I have so much freaking anxiety right now, and what makes this creepier is that when I got home like 20 minutes ago, I heard like stuff cracking in my backyard, like sticks or something. Like somebody was walking in my backyard, and I didn't really think anything of it because I hate like psyching myself out and like working myself up over nothing. But then when I got inside, my dog was like freaking out in the backyard, like he was barking and growling. And when I mean like freaking out at the backyard, like he was at my back door barking at the outside. So I let him outside, like to let him explore the backyard to see if there's anything back there. And he just stands on my deck and stares into like the grass of my backyard, like just stares into the darkness, whines, and comes back inside. Walks outside into my backyard, looks in the grass, whines, and runs back inside. I just got a notification that an AirTag has been following me. I want to call the cops, but a part of me is like, maybe my friend's pranking me. Like, maybe it's a prank or something. Like, I don't know. Maybe my dad put an AirTag on my car because he's had it for like the past 3 days. Like, I just got my car back today. So maybe he put an AirTag. I don't know. So yeah, I'm like freaking out, but I'll update you guys in the morning. I'm gonna look for the AirTag on my car in the morning, and I'm gonna ask my dad if he put one on my car, and if anybody breaks into my house tonight, I'll let you know. Why does this happen to me? So it's like 2 minutes later, and I just clicked the AirTag notification. This is what it says. I'm gonna disable my location, obviously, but, you know, there's really no point because whoever has it already knows where I live now because I've been home for like 20 minutes, so that's great, they know where I live. And it shows where I've went. I'm not going to zoom out so that nobody knows where I live. But, you know, it shows where I've been driving. That's, like, all I'm going to show because I don't want to show my address on TikTok. But it does show my house on here, so that's great. Whoever put an AirTag on my car or on me, I don't know where it is, knows where I live. So that's great. I'm literally scared. I'm really praying it's my dad right now. And I know all you guys are going to be like, well, wake your dad up. I promise you that's not going to go good. Once there was a tornado coming towards our house, and I woke my dad up and he told me to go back to bed, and I almost got grounded. So I'm just going to ask him in the morning.
So I found this on my car yesterday. What is this, Kayla? This is a tracking device, an AirTag. Some little freak of a person decided to put this on my car and then track me to find out where I live. So yeah, that's like just a little scary or whatever. So I tell my dad, he tells me he didn't put it on my car. And he's like, okay, we're gonna take this down to the police station. So when he got off work yesterday, we called the police station and we tell them how we found this AirTag on my car. And we tell them the whole situation. And they're like, well, do you know why somebody might have wanted to track you? And my dad's like, oh, well, she makes TikToks. She's on TikTok. And I told him not to say that for this exact reason. Whenever something goes wrong in my life, or I'm being tracked like I am now, and I try to get help and I'm explaining them the situation, and I include how I am on social media, they always tell me, well, just stop posting on social media. And that is what the police station told us to do. They're like, oh, well, maybe she should just get off social media then. If it's getting this serious, I can only recommend getting off social media. And my dad was like, oh, well, we don't really plan on doing that. So do you think you could find a way to see who's attached to this AirTag, like whose Apple ID is on this? And they were like, unfortunately, we don't know how to do that. You're gonna have to go down to the Apple store. Sorry, the most we could tell you to do is to get off social media. So you're like, okay, Kayla, then go down to the Apple store. The nearest Apple store to where I live is in Chicago, an hour and a half, almost 2 hours away from where I live. And I cannot drive on that interstate all the way to Chicago, and my dad will not drive me down there. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just call them. So I call the Apple store, and they tell us there's nothing they can do, and that this thing is really just attached to you. Okay, I don't know what to sing with that. Yeah, they just told us there's no way to find out who's on this. Like, and they said that the best they could do is to disable my Find My iPhone on my phone, which I have already done. I've disabled Find My iPhone on every single device. So yeah, that's that. Nobody's helping. Everybody's saying there's nothing they could do. We can't find out who's attached to this AirTag, and the best I could do is turn off my location. So yeah, that's basically the update on my little tracking device that somebody put on my car. Once again, this does not have my location anymore. I disabled Find My iPhone, I turned off my location, like this is not, it's dead now. But I'm not staying at my dad's anymore currently, just because, you know, I'm still a little paranoid. But we do have a Ring camera, so if anybody like tries something at our house, we're gonna get it on video, and we have like hella cameras outside of the house. So yeah, I'm not really too worried about somebody showing up to my house. I'm not really too worried about the
people knowing where I live, because I would assume they would have already tried to do something. If they were planning on hurting me or doing anything harmful, I assume they would have already done it. Or if they do plan to do it in the future, they'll see the Ring camera and literally run the other way, because you are going to get caught in 4K, baby. So yeah, that's the update on my tracking device. I'm screwed.
Am I the asshole for not wanting my disabled sister at my wedding? The title sounds awful, but please listen all the way till the end. My 22 female sister, Anna, 21, is quote unquote special needs. She has severe autism, and while she is verbal, most of her communication is physical, like sign language, due to her social discomfort. She does speak around family though, and has pretty bad cognitive skills. She can't comprehend boundaries and lives with our parents so they can best watch her. I am getting married in 3 months. We planned a simple wedding and reception at my fiance's, Michael's parents' barn and farm. Since it's all gonna be DIY and we aren't planning anything too expensive, we can do things pretty quickly since flowers, food, and decor will be provided by his family. I sent out invites last week and I asked that Anna not come. I told my parents I understood that would mean they may not show up, but it was just a heads up. Why no Anna? She has an issue with touching Michael and trying to kiss him. At times when we were at my parents' house, Anna would try and grab Michael's hands, try to lean in to kiss him, or would have really bad shutdowns if she wasn't allowed to be directly next to him. We've tried speaking to her, but there's only so much we can do when she doesn't really understand. I told my parents I just want one day for Michael to be my partner and not Anna's comfort person. They called me selfish and asked how I expected them to agree to something like this. They told me Anna is disabled and may never experience a wedding of her own. And while I have Michael for probably the rest of our lives, she'll have no one, and that Michael and I can be a little more understanding to the reality of her life. I do feel like a total ass, and what they're saying has really gotten to me, and I'm starting to question my decision. So, am I the asshole? Update. My parents called me, letting me know.
One time I accidentally went to a barber shop instead of a hair salon for a balayage and a haircut. And I think I should have figured it out when I made the appointment, because he was like, a bali what? And I had to spell it for him. And then he was like, what color is your hair? And I was like, blonde. And he's like, what color you want it to be? I'm like, blonde. Or he's like, okay, cool. And then when I went, he showed up 10 minutes late carrying in a Sally beauty supply bag. And I was like, oh no. And I was too passive to leave, so I just stayed and sat in my chair. I was the only woman in there. And he kept asking me how I found this place and thanking me. And I was like, at Google, but apparently I'm not good at Googling. And then at one point, he puts his hand on my head like this and like palms it. And he's like, I've never worked on such a small head before. You have such a small head. And I was just like, okay. And then it took 5 hours and he kept like reading his phone. And I think he was looking at instructions. But